Hello, Cincinnati. Coming to you live from the Jack and Jones Schrader Studio at the University of Cincinnati. This is from J to Z on Bearcast Media.
Tonight we're going to start off with some headliners for the past week. Zach, you want to get us started?
All righty. This morning, future Hall of Fame quarterback Peyton Manning announced his retirement from the NFL. Said Manning, "When someone thoroughly exhausts an experience, they can't help but revere it. I revere football. I love the game, so you don't have to wonder if I'll miss it. Absolutely, I will."
In other NFL news, the Washington Redskins officially released former number 2 pick and 2012 Offensive Rookie of the Year, RG3. Wasn't a surprise that they were going to release him. He is owed $16 million this season, despite being the team's number 3 quarterback most of last season.
Earlier today, it was announced that the Philadelphia Eagles would be sending DeMarco Murray to the Tennessee Titans when the league's official year begins on Wednesday. It has not been said what the Eagles are going to receive in return for the 2014 rushing champ.
Sticking with the Eagles, they also signed quarterback Sam Bradford to a 2-year, $36 million deal last week. Bradford with a career-best 65% completion percentage last season and threw 19 touchdowns and 14 interceptions. We'll talk about more about this later tonight.
Last night, the Los Angeles Lakers defeated the Golden State Warriors 112-95 in what has been called one of the biggest upsets in NBA history. This was just the 13th win for the Lakers on the season and just the 6th loss for Golden State.
Sportscaster Erin Andrews was awarded a whopping $55 million today as a result of the lawsuit she filed against a man who was recording her through a peephole hotel door in Nashville.
Former Bears and Bucks head coach Lovie Smith today signed with the University of Illinois to become their new head coach. Smith was controversially released abruptly by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers following the end of the NFL season.
And headlines off with the UC score from over the weekend. They beat 24 SMU 61-54. Troy Coupane led the way with 14 points, 5 assists, and 5 rebounds.
All right, I'm going to take a quick one-song break. When we come back, going to go a little more in-depth with some NFL news. Be right back. Alrighty, we're back on From J to Z. First up on the night, the biggest news of definitely the past 24 hours, probably the last week. Peyton Manning officially retiring from the NFL after 18 seasons. Justin, where's he go from here?
I think he's going to take a little bit of time off, but he will be back to the NFL in some form. Coach, I feel like coach is the most likely option for him. But I think he's going to take a little time off. Maybe not head coach. Well, maybe a head coach at some point in time. He definitely has the credentials to be a head coach. But I think mostly grooming younger quarterbacks that are coming into the league.
I see him probably as an offensive coordinator somewhere. Yeah. I think that would probably best suit him. Maybe head coach. He's got probably one of, if not the best offensive minds and ability to spot blitzes better than maybe any quarterback that's ever played.
Yeah, I agree. One of his quotes from when he was announcing his retirement, he says, "I'm going to miss looking over film and picking up blitzes with Jeff Saturday." Yeah. So he's the right person to teach you on how to pick up blitzes and formations of defenses and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. I definitely think he'll be back. Where do you think he sits in the top 5 of all time?
Top 5 of all time?
Or is he in the top 5?
Definitely in the top 5. I have him at 3. I put him at 3. My top 5 would be Tom Brady, Joe Montana, Peyton Manning, Brett Favre, John Elway. So sitting there at 3. Not a super stellar postseason record, but having the most touchdowns thrown and passing yards ever by a player, that's obviously due for some mentioning.
Yeah, when he was with Indianapolis, I thought he was maybe 1 or 2 all time, but with Denver, he blew 1 Super Bowl. He didn't really, at least in my opinion, he didn't really contribute a ton to this Super Bowl season. I don't think, he got obviously a lot of the good side of it, I guess, but Osweiler is the guy that really put them in the position to get to the playoffs and to be the number 1 seed, especially.
Right. Do you think if Peyton Manning wouldn't have retired, do you think the Broncos would have kept him on?
No. If he was going to stay another season for some stupid reason, I have no idea where. I don't know who would want him.
Right.
I mean, it's not like not that no one wants him, but it's just not worth it. I mean, you're not going to get a lot out of him. He's still better than a decent amount of quarterbacks in the league, but there comes a really big price tag that is, you might as well just rebuild. If you're in a position to take Peyton Manning, just focus on rebuilding.
Right.
But I've got him at number 3. We got Brady, Montana, and a fairly sizable gap between Montana and Peyton Manning. Close 4th, Steve Young and Brett Favre at 5. So not too terribly far off.
Yeah. Pretty similar except for Elway and Young.
Yeah, 4 or 5 really the only difference. I don't know. Peyton's postseason is what makes it hard.
I mean, well, Brett Favre only has 1 Super Bowl.
Right. That's what he's kind of floating between 5 and 6. His regular season stats are just phenomenal.
Yeah.
That's why I put him above Elway. Steve Young, he's got 3 titles, but 2 of those were Montana's fault. I mean, he earned 1 on his own and made it to the playoffs, I think 7 or 8 times and came in with 1 title. So it's hard to hate on Peyton and not hate on Steve Young.
Right.
The greatest thing about Steve Young, though, is that he was a dual threat quarterback. And that's, something Peyton never had, but Peyton also threw for twice as many touchdowns. So they've got very similar stats otherwise. But Peyton, the slight edge. I guess for both of us, you didn't even have Steve. Where do you put Steve Young?
Right there, like
6, 7.
When you do like top 5s, like it's always so close between these great players. I mean, everyone knows who these players are that we've said most likely. Like,
if you don't know who any of those 5 are, you don't.
They're
pay attention to sports.
They're all replaceable. Like, you could put anyone in the top 5. I mean, except given Brady and Manning and Montana. But after those 3, it's real close.
I don't think Brady, Montana moves from 1-2. Maybe you flip-flop them, but
no,
I don't even know if you would do that. I think it's
right.
Brady Montana, and the rest could probably be.
After 1, 2, and maybe 3, Peyton Manning, then after that it's really close, neck and neck.
Right. Alrighty, so sticking with the NFL, we finally not talk about Peyton Manning at the top of the show now. Earlier tonight, it was announced that DeMarco Murray was going to move to Tennessee Titans once the league's official year started on Wednesday. Not super surprising that DeMarco was leaving. At least personally, I figured if he was going anywhere, he'd probably be going back to Dallas.
I wasn't expecting the Titans to.
I mean, do you think is this obviously? Is it a good move for Tennessee?
Well, yes, because looking at the running backs they have now, their top rusher only rushed for 500 yards last season, and DeMarco Murray rushed for 1,400 last season. So he's definitely adding to the table. I don't know how effective he'll be because I'm not really sure how good their offensive line is. But last year they rushed for 371 yards a game, so that's pretty decent.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it's an upgrade for Tennessee, but I was surprised he didn't go to Dallas. I figured if he's going anywhere, maybe it was Philadelphia, a big part of Philadelphia not wanting to give him back to a division rival. But yeah, I figured if he was going anywhere, he was headed back to Dallas. Last season, he actually only rushed for 702 yards. 1,400 was the year before that. That was his rushing title year.
Okay.
So, I mean, but there's a huge asterisk next to that because how much of that was Chip Kelly's fault? You know, no one, he doesn't, you don't just cut your yards in half by yourself.
Right.
You know, 700 yards, 6 touchdowns, and the year before was the rushing champ. So, I mean, it's an upgrade for Tennessee. But
it was obviously a Chip Kelly fault because he's no longer with the team, so
yeah,
it's apparent that they could have used him more smart.
Yeah, if you thought Chip Kelly making moves when he first got there was questionable, I don't know what you think of the upper management right now because they let DeMarco Murray go and they signed Sam Bradford to a 2-year, $36 million deal. $22 million is guaranteed.
Well, everyone thought the Eagles were going to do a lot better last year, and they disappointed a lot of people. So
they disappointed a lot of people, and you know, you would think that you would either get rid of, try and rebuild, or work with what you got. But like they kind of did both. They got rid of a good running back and kept a very mediocre quarterback and gave him way too much money.
Yeah.
You know, Sam Bradford, he's 25, 37, and 1 in the NFL. Statistically, he has a better chance to tear his ACL than he does to throw 20 touchdowns. Last season, 21 quarterbacks, including 2 rookies, threw for 20 touchdowns or scored 20 touchdowns or more. So, like, what I don't even understand where you begin to defend. There are plenty of people in professional media defending Philadelphia. I don't understand how you could possibly defend that.
What? 2 years for $36 million? That's absurd.
$22 million guaranteed.
Right. That's completely absurd for a quarterback that gets hurt almost every season in some way or another. That's not worth, that's just not worth any interest to them.
Yeah.
They're going to give this guy $22 million guaranteed, and he could go out and blow his ACL the first practice.
And you're still paying him.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you can give a guy a chance, that's great, because all these athletes deserve more chances, but not $36 million worth of chances.
Yeah, so just to give you some comparison on where his salary averages out, he's going to average about $18 million a year for over those 2 years. Tom Brady, who we just said was the greatest quarterback of all time, just signed a 2-year extension, and he's going to average about $15 million a year.
Right.
Cam Newton averages $20 million. Russell Wilson, 21.9. Here's a list of people that will make less than Sam Bradford pending an extension. Andy Dalton, Carson Palmer, Alex Smith, Winston and Mariota, Fitzpatrick, and Luck. I would take all of those quarterbacks over Sam Bradford.
I would too.
And
especially like Luck and Dalton and
you take Luck, Dalton, and the two rookies.
Right.
With just the insane upside to all of them. I don't know if you see some potential upside. To sign someone of that money, you have to be able to defend that they could take you to a Super Bowl. Sam Bradford's not going anywhere close to a Super Bowl unless he buys seats.
The Eagles are going to find some way to justify that $36 million. And it might make sense to people who maybe don't know, like, money-wise of sports and, like, value of players. But I just don't understand how Eagles fans could be, like, happy about this. Or $36 million on a quarterback who could get hurt. That's money that you could be going out and buying.
A running back.
Or a
receivers.
Quarterback
a defense.
that's going to get hurt.
Anything. Yeah, literally anything.
$36 million is a lot of money.
Yeah.
You could buy a lot of above-average players for that.
They need almost everything, especially now that they got rid of their running back. I mean, they are weak in a lot of positions, post Chip Kelly and all that, and him, getting rid of all the players that gave Philadelphia some sort of upside. But if I'm a Philadelphia fan, this is really frustrating. It's frustrating. I don't even give a crap about Philadelphia because he just doesn't. 16th in completion percentage, 22nd in touchdowns, 18th in total yards. Like, he's just not worth $36 million, 22 guaranteed. And is going to make in the top 10 salaries in that. Like, what? That just, no. Nothing about that adds up.
Maybe it will pay off. Maybe he'll have a great season.
Maybe he will, but when Philadelphia loses 10 games, they're going to really be questioning this deal.
It's definitely high risk for a low reward.
Yeah. Very high risk for exactly. Super high risk. But how much is Sam Bradford actually going to give you?
Not much.
Especially since you tie this money up, so you do limit yourself to what you can spend to give him weapons and give him a defense. Even if he had a great year, what else are you going to put with him? You're going to have to put something else with him. He's not by himself going to get to the playoffs with that team.
Well, they just got rid of their best offensive player, so
and re-signed a completely mediocre one. All right, well, that's enough of Sam Bradford. He doesn't deserve too much more than that. All righty, we're going to take a quick music break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little UFC 196, big fight last Saturday. We'll be right back.
No, I know that I can make you stay, but where's your heart? But where's your heart? But where's your... And I know there's nothing I can say to change that part. To change that part. To change. So many bright lights to cast a shadow, but can black hotel mirror, and I'm so weak. Is it hard understanding I'm incomplete? Love that's so demanding, weak and weak. I am not afraid to keep on living. I am not afraid to walk this world alone. If you stay, I'll be forgiven. Nothing you can say can stop me going home. I am not afraid to keep on living. I am not afraid to walk this world alone. If you stay, I'll be forgiven. Nothing you can say can stop me going home. These bright lights have always blinded me. These bright lights have always blinded me. I say, I'll see you lying next to me with words I thought I'd never speak. Awake and unafraid, asleep or dead. 'Cause I see you lying next to me with words I thought I'd never speak. Awake and unafraid, asleep or dead. 'Cause I see you lying next to me with words I thought I'd never speak. Awake and unafraid, asleep or dead. 'Cause I see you lying next to me with words I thought I'd never speak. Awake and unafraid, asleep or dead. I am not afraid to keep on living. I am not afraid if I live in the real world, any good, any good, be all alone. And if I'm living in the real world, 'cause the world don't open up, any good, any good, be all alone. Go crying to your mama, you're on your own in the real world. Go crying to your mama, you're on your own in the real world. This is the real world. Don't go crying to your mama.
Alrighty, we're back on From J to Z. Going to start this segment with some UFC news on Saturday. UFC 196, the two main events. Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz in a non-title fight. Nate Diaz really shocked a lot of people and submitted Conor McGregor and Misha Tate versus Holly Holm for the women's bantamweight title. And Misha Tate ended up coming out of that one and submitted Holly Holm in the fifth. Either of these surprise you?
The more surprising one was McGregor Diaz, because Tate Holm could have gone either way, I feel like. But I mean, I still wasn't completely surprised at McGregor because he just needed to be brought down a peg. He was getting out of control. So I'm not surprised, but out of those two, that was the more surprising.
Did you see that? He defended, you know, he's like, I went out there and I took a shot and I missed, and, you know, he won.
So do you think this is going to stop his
No.
trash talking?
I think for the same reason I think it was good that Ronda Rousey lost. I think he was headed to her level of
I don't know. I thought he was on a whole other level than her. Well, they're talking about it in different ways.
I didn't think he was a lot of persons. His mind, he was so I think for him, maybe some of which Diaz is the number 5 was before this fight. You have to assume he's going to go up, even though it was not in his weight class. Diaz was the number 5 fighter in his weight class. The champion's Rafael dos Anjos, who was supposed to fight Conor McGregor. Do you think McGregor dos Anjos happens, or do you think Diaz dos Anjos happens, and that winner faces Conor McGregor in a champion fight?
I don't know. I think they might go. I'd like to see the Diaz dos Anjos fight, but I think they're gonna just go from where it was supposed to be and do McGregor dos Anjos.
I would rather see. I think I would rather see McGregor take on somebody in his weight class, kind of come back from this.
Yeah.
And, if you could do them on the same night, that would be just a crazy card. And I think Diaz earned a title shot.
I agree. That was definitely impressive.
I know a lot of guys wanted that fight against McGregor. He was lucky enough to get it, but the only thing is he's the number 5. He's now 19-10 professionally. So you're going to have to justify, was that fight impressive enough to bump him up to the number 1 contender, number 2 in his weight class, and fight dos Anjos?
Well, I think it was impressive enough. Well, here's the thing. If McGregor keeps his title for his weight class and gets to fight with dos Anjos and wins, he'll be the first UFC fighter to hold simultaneous titles in 2 different weight classes.
Right.
So I think people are going to want to see that happen before they see a Diaz dos Anjos fight. I think people still were a little disappointed that dos Anjos wasn't able to fight. So in terms of how fair it is, I think the Diaz dos Anjos fight should happen. But in terms of fan popularity and what people want to see, it's going to be dos Anjos McGregor. Diaz definitely earned a title fight, though. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, he would have to go. The number 1 contender in the lightweight division, which is Diaz and dos Anjos, is Eddie Alvarez. Eddie Alvarez is 27-4. So you'd have to argue that a guy who's 19-10, even coming off a fight, a non-title fight, which we can talk about that, it deserves a shot more than a guy who's 27-4 and sitting in the number 1 contender spot who didn't get the shot against McGregor.
Well, what big wins does he have? Has he beaten anyone of extraordinary name?
Anthony Pettis is a pretty well-known fighter. Gilbert Melendez. Anthony Pettis is number 3 right now. Melendez, I think, is in a different weight class. I mean, his last fight was a win against the guy who's now the number 3 lightweight, and Diaz is 5. At 27-4 is impressive no matter what.
But beating...
He's only 3. He's 3-2 in his last 5 fights. So he's not, 2 of those 4 losses were in his last 5 fights.
But beating arguably the best UFC fighter right now in the face of UFC in the second round, you can't ignore that. You also can't ignore 27-4 though.
Yeah, I mean that's Dana White's going to have to figure that. Maybe Nate Diaz deserved a fight to get him the number 1 contender spot. Maybe he goes straight to the champ. Well,
an episode or 2 ago we talked about the Holm Rousey Tate, if that was a fluke, if it was more luck on Holm. Do you think that's the case with Diaz and McGregor? Do you think Diaz, that fight was a fluke?
Part of me does, yes, because it was a non-title fight. And there were a couple times where Conor was getting really cocky, and you could tell. And part of that is his personality, but to me part of that is because it's a non-title fight. He knows no matter what, unless he Anderson Silva's himself, he's going to be headlining the next big card. UFC 199, 200, whatever it is. He doesn't have as much incentive other than pride to win that fight.
See, I don't think he was... I think he was trying really hard in that fight, like normally, but I don't think he was expecting Diaz to be as good as he was.
Right. No, I think Diaz definitely came at him harder than what I expected. I didn't think it was going to be that close of a fight. But I mean, McGregor doesn't have in a non-title fight a huge incentive that I think he probably put himself in situations he wouldn't have if he knew his title was on the line.
McGregor lost, and he still earned the most money in a fight in UFC history.
Yeah, it was
breaking $1 million.
Yeah,
as a loss on a non-title fight.
It's his face. I mean, his cockiness makes people want to watch.
He's popular. I mean, he's obviously deserving of it too. He's a great fighter.
Yeah, he's fun to watch. He's fun to follow on social media. He's a fun guy, and he's got more money than he knows what to do with right now. Yeah, I mean, if Conor McGregor did not fight the lightweight champ in his next fight, the number one contender is Jose Aldo. That's who McGregor beat in his last fight.
13 seconds?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And which, I mean, that was Jose Aldo's second loss. He was 25-1 going into that. So, I mean, I don't even know how. Do you give Aldo another shot? I mean, that's almost a fluke.
Not 13 seconds.
But that could have happened to anybody.
I don't know. If
you hit someone in the right spot, they're going down. I don't care who you are.
I mean, but at the level of competition that you're at right now, you got to defend yourself so that doesn't happen. You as a fighter know the location if you get hit where you're going to go down, and you got to defend that. He deserves a shot down the road, but not right away. I think he needs to get a couple more big-ish wins before he gets the big fight again.
Fair enough. I think, for me personally, the next card should have Conor McGregor versus Frankie Edgar, who's the number 2 contender in McGregor's division. Edgar's last fight was against Chad Mendes, who's the third fighter, the number 3 contender. So I think you skip over Aldo. He had his shot.
Right.
And he doesn't drop far down the list because that's kind of a crap loss because that could happen to anybody. I would like to see McGregor Edgar and Dos Anjos Diaz and let those two play out, and the 5 months after that, 6 months after that, whatever, see the winner of those two fights.
So if McGregor loses, he's done?
Not done. If he lost to Edgar became champ, and say Dos Anjos beat Diaz, I think the next card is Edgar Dos Anjos.
I mean, it has to be almost.
Yeah, I don't think you give the cards would just be too well aligned to go in any other direction.
I don't think McGregor's going to lose again, though.
No, I think that brought him back down to earth.
I think he might even be harder to beat now.
Which makes me like, it's very similar to Ronda Rousey's situation, because, like I said earlier, I think it brought him back down to earth, kind of like it brought Ronda back down to earth. Not necessarily mentally, she wasn't too far out there.
Well, the difference is mentally, he was fine.
Yeah,
he's like, this happens. I've had it happen to me before. It's gonna be fine. I'll come back stronger. Rousey was like, I wanted to commit suicide.
Yeah,
like that's not the right mentality you have. Like, if you're a fighter and competitive like this, you can't think like that. You have to, home, I'll get you next time. Like, you can't want to end your life just because you lose one fight when you're obviously the best fighter still.
But everyone in sports and socially, she was just so dominant. At least McGregor had lost prior to this fight a few times.
I agree, but you still can't you can't have that weakness.
No, I agree.
With you.
I agree. She went from on top of the world to just shocking loss.
I mean, she's still on top of the world, though. It was bound to happen. She was going to lose.
So do you think we'll go into Tate home here, because I thought Miesha Tate was going to win regardless. I didn't think Holly Holm. I thought her win against Ronda was more or less a fluke.
Yeah.
I thought, she looked good in the fight. Don't get me wrong. I think that was probably Ronda's worst fight and probably Holly Holm's best fight. And she landed a good kick, knocked her out. And her fight against Miesha Tate was her chance to prove that she earned that title. And it wasn't just by chance and some lucky kick that she got it. I wasn't too surprised when Miesha Tate won. I was kind of surprised at how close it was for most of the fight, and then it came down to the 5th round. I thought Miesha Tate would have probably ended it in the 2nd or 3rd round. The fight was so close. Holly Holm, I think, would have had it gone to a decision. I don't think it would have been too close. So it's Miesha Tate obviously won. Do you think Ronda Rousey is the next fight for her?
I don't know. They've already fought, and Rousey won. It was a close fight, but Rousey still won. I think people want to see Rousey home, even though Holm might not be deserving of it.
Right.
Rousey wants to fight Holm again. She's already beat Tate. She doesn't have any more to prove there.
But she wants her title back.
That's true. That's very true.
I mean, I think she sent a text to Dana White right after Miesha won the title that it verbatim was, well, I guess I have to get back to work now.
Well,
you can take it a couple
she's
ways.
going to fight both of them again.
Agreed. Because I think
Do you think she'll want another? She hasn't fought in a while because of.
It'll be, by the time she fights, it'll be about a year.
Do you think she's going to want a tune-up match again, beat Holm?
No.
And then, or she just wants to go right after it?
No. With her, she has got maybe the strongest warrior mentality. Just, I wouldn't want to be the next person that gets in the octagon with her.
Yeah.
Miesha Tate has to, because she's the champ. If I'm Holly Holm, absolutely not. Because she is going to be taking out a year's worth of aggression. And she is going to go into that match. Even when she was champ, her face walking into that octagon was not to be messed with.
Right.
And Miesha Tate, that comes with having the title, and she's going to have to deal with that, but I would not want to deal with Ronda Rousey in this first fight.
So you think she's going to fight Tate first?
I'm sure that's what she wants, and she's a big enough name that if she wanted Holm or she wanted Tate,
she's gonna
she
fight
can call
Holm
her own
again.
shot.
She's going to fight Holm again.
I think she will fight Holm again, but I think it's going to be after
she gets her title back.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's if she can beat Miesha Tate. She beat her once, and it was close. But Miesha Tate's got. I still give the edge to Rousey.
Like I said about McGregor, how I don't think he's going to lose. I don't think Rousey will either.
Yeah,
it's just one of those things. They both got brought back down, and they're both going to just go on a tear again.
Yeah, Tate's got the momentum, obviously coming off of a win, which, she fought a champ that, at least in my opinion, I didn't really think was. I mean, it was not a spectacular champion, and I like I said, I would not want to be the next person that gets in the ring or the octagon with Ronda Rousey. I think Rousey gets her title back, and that's when I think we see a rematch of Holly Holm, which could prove us both wrong.
We have to see it.
Yeah, I mean, Holly Holm could win a second time, and man, oh man, I would hate to be Ronda Rousey then, but I don't think Ronda lets that happen. She's just too good and was too dominant. Let some other people have the light for a little bit, and it's going right back. By the tail end of 2016, Ronda's going to be champ again.
Right.
And McGregor, I don't think, I agree with you, I don't think he's going to lose too soon. I mean, it could come down to him versus Diaz again. That could be a champion versus champion fight we see in 2017. So, I mean, I think his mentality is different. In a title fight, I think he beats Nate Diaz. I really do think that had a lot of impact just on his mentality. He's going to tap sooner. His whole game plan changes if you're going to lose the title. Because then you're setting back a year.
It almost has to change.
Yeah, you're setting yourself, if you lose a title fight, you're setting yourself back a year and a half before you're going to get a title shot again. But it will make the tail end of 2016 is going to be really interesting for UFC.
Right.
Because there's a possibility of just some monster cards with Rousey coming back. And two divisions of, I mean, there's so many good scenarios of what you could do, and then fights coming out of those. So UFC 196 was really good, really good for UFC.
Yeah,
because had McGregor knocked him out and had Holm won, it would have set up Holm Rousey, but I almost think that everything about it just worked really well for UFC.
Right. It made it a lot more competitive than what it might actually seem like.
Exactly. And it's going to be so much fun to watch. And unfortunately, it's months down the road. Because as it turns out, those guys need a little bit of rest. And girls.
Dana White's going to have a busy few months then.
Yeah, he's going to have a really fun job, but he can't go wrong.
Right.
I mean, the cards are going to be, how far do you spread out the fights, or do you just put 2 or 3 on the same one? I mean, can you imagine having all 3 of those fights on the same night? I don't see why. From his perspective, from a business perspective, I don't think he would do that.
Right.
But that would be like the best fighting pay-per-view of all time. Like, that would just be insane. All right, well, that's enough of that. We're going to take a quick music break. Actually, we're going to take a halftime, a little extended music break as we approach the halfway point in our show. When we come back, we're going to talk a lot of basketball, professional and college level, just a few days out from Selection Sunday. We'll see you in just a little bit.
Somebody once told me the world is gonna roll me. I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed. She was looking kind of dumb with her finger and her thumb in the shape of an L on her forehead. Well, the years start coming and they don't stop coming. Fed to the rules and I hit the ground running. Didn't make sense not to live for fun. Your brain gets smart but your head gets dumb. So much to do, so much to see. So what's wrong with taking the back streets? You'll never know if you don't go. You'll never shine if you don't glow. Hey now, you're an all-star. Get your game on, go play. Hey now, you're a rock star. Get the show on, get paid. And all that glitters is gold. Only shooting stars break the mold. It's a cool place, and they say it gets colder. You're bundled up now, wait till you get older. But the media men beg to differ, judging by the hole in the satellite picture. The ice we skate is getting pretty thin. The water's getting warm, so you might as well swim. My world's on fire, how about yours? That's the way I like it, and I'll never get bored. Hey now, you're an all-star. Get your game on, go play. Hey now, you're a rock star. Get the show on, get paid. All that glitters is gold. Only shooting stars break the mold.
Go for the moon. Go for the moon. Go for the moon.
Hey now, you're an all-star. Get your game on, go play. Hey now, you're a rock star. Get the show on, get paid. And all that glitters is gold. Only shooting stars. Somebody once asked, could I spare some change for gas? I need to get myself away from this place. I said, yeah, what a concept. I could use a little fuel myself, and we could all use a little change. Well, know if you don't go. You'll never shine if you don't glow. Hey now, you're an all-star. Get your game on, go play. Hey now, you're a rock star. Get the show on, get paid. And all that glitters is gold. Only shooting stars break the mold. And all that glitters is gold. Only shooting stars break the mold. Your dreams where nobody else. Give your tears to the tide. Oh, tide. Oh, tide. Snow and there is no goodbye. Deep sun with night. Oh, time. wants to know. I closed my eyes and she slipped away. She slipped
Someone told me long ago there's a calm before the storm. I know it's been coming for some time. When it's over, so they say, it'll rain a sunny day. I know, shining down like water. I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain? I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain? Coming down sunny day. Yesterday and days before, sun is cold and rain is hot. I know, been that way for all my time. Till forever home it goes, through the circle fast and slow. I know, it can't stop. I wonder, I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain? I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain? Coming down sunny day. Yeah, I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain? I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain? Coming down sunny day.
Alrighty, back with you on From J to Z. Going to get into some basketball action. Last night, Lakers beat Golden State Warriors 112-95. We talked about that in the headlines at the beginning of the show. Coming off last night, this actually just broke a few minutes ago. Warriors tonight defeated the Magic 119-113, and in doing so set the NBA record with their 45th straight regular season home win. Coming off of what some people were calling maybe one of the biggest upsets in NBA history. So even with what we know now about the win tonight against the Magic, which is really not super impressive, that's actually a pretty close game to face against the Magic. Did this expose something for Golden State?
I mean, no. The Lakers game was more of a fluke than anything.
Yeah.
The Magic game's a little bit different because it was a close game. But no, I don't think so. They only have 6 losses now?
Yeah, 50. Well, now they're 56-6, I
Yeah,
believe.
It just doesn't really matter at this point anymore.
Yeah,
It's not often when the Lakers play extremely well, and they just happen to be playing the Warriors when that happened and they won.
I mean, that might have been.
Well,
that was probably the Lakers' best
that game, Steph Curry it was 1 for 10 for 3-pointers too. So
the team as a whole was like shooting 13% from 3. It was by far their worst of the season, like just horribly low.
So an off night for Golden State and a strangely amazing night for the Lakers. Just happened to be playing each other.
They had a couple players. D'Angelo Russell, even a rookie, had 22 points. They had a couple players above 20. Kobe had a double-double. All these losses for Golden State, they're all on the road, and they're all against teams that, quite frankly, suck. There's only Dallas and Portland are the only 2 teams that are decent, and they're all 1 and 2 games above 500.
I mean, as long as you're playing well and beating the teams that matter, I don't think you need to. I don't think you need to put much more into it.
Exactly. I mean, they're undefeated at home. They haven't lost to a championship caliber team since the finals last year.
Right.
Like if you can beat the good teams, it really doesn't matter how you face against these teams that are never going to do any damage to you.
Well, when looking at the box score, Lakers only really outscored them in 1 quarter. Other than that, it was fairly close. So if the Lakers didn't have that one phenomenal quarter, then it'd be a different story.
Yeah, the only thing that this might expose for the Warriors is 2 of their losses are to Portland and Dallas. Yeah. And those 2 teams are battling for, 2 of the bottom 3 seeds in the conference, which means the Warriors would have to face them in a series. So it's, in a way, the 1 loss means absolutely nothing. But if that team can go in and say, we've already beaten this Warriors team this season before, maybe that makes it a little tougher in a series. I still find it hard to imagine the Warriors losing 3 or 4 games against any team.
I mean, really, the only thing I think this exposes is that Steph Curry can have an off night.
Yeah. And all of these are series. So in any series, you can afford to have 1, 2.
Right. Exactly. I don't see them losing in a series of 7. I don't see them losing 4 games.
Yeah. Only the every team except Portland and Dallas is below 500.
Yeah.
Detroit was above 500 when they faced each other, and they've since gone down. I think they're sitting at 500 right now. But
yeah, this doesn't change anything, I don't think. Just like I said, if you're beating the teams that matter, you can't worry about a game like this. I mean, you can tell they weren't because there were no quotes from the post interview that was like, "Oh yeah, we're worried" and stuff like that. No, they're not worried. Yeah, they know what position they're in, and they're completely confident about it. This doesn't hurt them at all.
Yeah. As soon as the Lakers whipped out those Kobe Bryant socks for everyone on the team to wear, you knew something was going to happen.
Right.
There was some magic brewing.
Exactly.
Put on Kobe socks and you beat the Warriors.
Maybe they should put them on all season long.
Yeah, they can maybe get within 10 games of 500.
Right.
All right, so the Western Conference is locked up. Eastern Conference, not so much. Cavs are just 2 games ahead of the Raptors right now in the Eastern Conference standings. Just lost tonight by 3 against against the Grizzlies. So is this, there's been talks of a lot of tension in Cleveland between LeBron, Kyrie wanting to leave, maybe LeBron and Kevin Love. They've gone through a coaching change already. What's happening up in Cleveland? What's happening with this team?
Well, I don't think you can blame the coaching because when they got the new coach, they got better. I don't know if that was also because Kyrie Irving came back. I mean, that definitely had a role in it. But I don't think it's a coaching. I just don't know how well these guys are getting along, really. Kyrie was pretty open about how, or well, he wasn't open about it. It wasn't officially said that he was. He just said he wasn't comfortable in Cleveland. Cleveland wasn't the exact fit that he was looking for.
Right.
So, but I don't think that has much to do with it because he's still putting up good numbers. It's not like him thinking that way is hurting the team. So
unless something is happening inside the locker room that we just don't know.
And looking at the highlights tonight, this was another classic LeBron James putting the team on his back.
Yeah.
And with the talent on this team right now, that shouldn't be the case ever, really. Kevin Love is a great scoring big guy. Kyrie Irving, great scorer, good defender, all-around good point guard. LeBron James, obviously, the king right now. I mean, J.R. Smith even has some offensive talent. I just don't see why LeBron James still has to be putting the team on his back.
Yeah, J.R. Smith's the fourth leading scorer on the team.
Right. And they have a decent bench, too. Dellavedova is obviously proven himself. Shumpert's decent off the bench. Tristan Thompson's good off the bench. He's a good rebounder. So I just don't see why they're still having to rely on LeBron James to get them through games.
You know, maybe it's just the three of them are just not as compatible as we thought they would be.
Right. It's got to be something like that.
Bosh, Wade, and James clearly had some chemistry. The first year was a little rough. They were kind of figuring people. They still made it to the finals.
I mean, maybe this is that scenario, and now, I mean, because Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love went through some injuries last year, they never were able to really play and get that chemistry going because they were either out. So maybe that's what this is. Maybe they might have another not successful season in terms of an NBA championship, but maybe next year, if they all decide to stay and can get things worked out, maybe next year is going to be the turnaround.
If you follow the same pattern that he faced with the Heat, you know, it was a little rough the first year, and they made it to the finals but lost. Same thing happened in Miami.
Right.
This year, still in first place. You know, if you're following that pattern, they win the championship this year and next year. The only thing is that they have to go through maybe the best team of all time. You know,
I mean, the way it's going right now, they're not going to beat the Warriors.
Yeah,
no team is really.
Spurs have the best chance, but even it's just going to have to be a crazy upset.
Yeah. I mean, the Grizzlies are a decent team. They're 38-25, I believe, and they're pushing in the Western Conference. But I mean, still, just the big thing I can't get over is how they're still just relying on LeBron James to get them through games.
It can't go on for much longer.
Yeah, I don't. And if they just need to figure out what's causing Kyrie Irving to not feel comfortable in his situation. He's in a really good situation. You're playing with the best player in the NBA right now. Well, arguably.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know what he was expecting, because he's in one of the best situations you honestly could be for a young, rising NBA star.
Right. Do you think LeBron would leave again?
No.
You sure?
Yeah, not again.
I think he would.
For what? Under what circumstances?
He doesn't see a title coming with this team. He never said he wouldn't leave Cleveland again.
That's true.
And, you know, he came back, and it looked like this team was going to be good for a while. Not that they're not good. They're not championship good.
Right.
They're finals good. You know, I would not be surprised if in a couple of years he leaves. If in 2 years they don't have a title still, and Kyrie's maybe gone, Kevin Love's maybe gone, because Kevin Love's permanently on the trading block. It seems like that dude's never been taken off the trading block,
right,
which isn't really fair to him. And maybe that has has some part to do with why there's some tension maybe on his end.
So if he was to leave,
I have no idea.
like not that where would he go, but would he ever be welcome back to Cleveland if he left for a second time?
We thought he wouldn't the first time. Like you
I
can't
can't-
say he didn't. You know, he wanted to come back. He wanted to give it a shot. And not to say they don't win a title this year, next year, the year after.
Right.
But
I'm not from Cleveland. I'm not a big Cleveland Cavalier fan, so emotionally I don't really understand all that mess that whatever
that he caused. Well, not even he caused. The fans caused.
He wasn't tied down to Cleveland.
Yeah, he made a professional
it's his
decision.
job, yeah.
And you know what? It paid off. Because if he did move, he wasn't going to win a title in Cleveland with that team. His best chance to win a title with Cleveland is right now.
Well,
Short of the one,
that still might not be happening.
short of the one appearance, I think when they lost to Dallas, that was
Right,
probably the best
yeah.
opportunity he's had. Had anyone showed up last season, he would have beat the Warriors. Yeah, he was the only one who showed up.
Right.
That was a very beatable Warriors team. Unfortunately for that.
He still kind of gave them a run for their money as a one-man show.
Yeah, I mean, they almost took a 2-1 lead at one point.
Yeah.
And it looked like they might actually steal that series. Obviously, it didn't happen. But yeah, he wants more than 2 titles. Because to put yourself in the top 5 of all time with those guys have
Right.
most of those guys have a lot of
Multiple,
titles.
Yeah.
Jordan's got 6, and it's always Jordan and James. You know, the two are always being compared.
See, the good thing about LeBron James that helps his case out a lot is he's hit so many milestones at such young ages.
Yeah. So now in the back part of his career, he's going to start really. They're so condensed towards the top, like 10 in a lot of these categories.
Right.
You could go up a couple ranks, 2-3 ranks a season, if not more.
Well, tonight he is now 13th in all-time scoring. Just went over Havlicek in all-time scoring tonight. So he's still moving up. I do think he's going to get another championship, regardless
With
if it's
Cleveland?
in Cleveland, regardless if it's if with Cleveland or a different team. I think he's hoping it's with Cleveland. I don't think he wants to leave again, but for his career-wise, he will do. I think he will do it to get another title.
You think Kevin Durant could end up in Cleveland?
No. I don't see that happening. If LeBron James wasn't with the team, yes, but not 2 of them together. Not both of them together.
So, LeBron and Kevin wouldn't happen. Where I'm on a first-name basis with both of them. That wouldn't happen. But a lot of people think Kevin Durant could end up at the Warriors, which seems a lot more far-fetched than 2 guys being together. Because there's a lot more happening in Golden State right now.
I don't think Kevin Durant's going to want to go to either of those.
I think I think his best shot's either Boston or Washington. Those are 2 places I think.
I don't think he wants to go to a team that he would be put on the back burner before he even gets there.
That's
yes,
fair.
if he went to the Warriors, they'd be like, "Oh, awesome, we have Kevin Durant," but their
Steph
guy
Curry's-
is still Steph Curry.
Yeah.
He's the face of that organization, and he will be for a while.
So if Kevin Durant comes over, he really hasn't looked at least the speculation other than the Warriors, which I don't think is going to happen. He's a lot better chance probably to move to the Eastern Conference, which is only going to make LeBron's chances of getting a title with Cleveland harder.
Well, the thing is, I think that'd be good for the Eastern Conference because it's always, the Western Conference is so dominant. I think bringing these elite player like Kevin Durant, an elite player, over to the Eastern Conference to a team would make it more competitive. I think it'd just be good for the Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
But you're right, it would hurt LeBron's chances more. But that's just something he'd have to deal with and prove that he is the king,
It's not going
the
to get
best
easier
player.
if LeBron moves to the West. I mean, that would only make it harder.
If anything, it's going to help LeBron James out because it's going to get him more prepared for when he faces the Western Conference in the playoffs, in the finals.
That's true. Now that I'm thinking about it, Kevin Durant maybe in Toronto, that would be those
Honestly,
that's
there's a lot of
young,
Eastern.
rising team.
There's a lot of Eastern Conference teams that he'd be a good fit in.
There's a lot of youth.
Right, that could use a star.
Yeah, a lot of
superstar.
youth in the Eastern Conference,
Right.
short of Miami. But yeah, that could be. I mean, he's the guy that could, turn an organization around. But anyway, going back to what started that whole tangent, I feel pretty confident that if LeBron in 2 years after this season, so 3 total, doesn't have a title with Cleveland, I see no reason why he wouldn't bounce. And that could even change faster depending on what the team does with Kyrie, what Kyrie does with the team.
Well, if they get rid of Kyrie and Kevin Love, it's just going to be like how it was before. It'd be pre-Miami.
And
Pre-Miami Cavaliers, just him again.
And to be just completely real, LeBron's not young enough to carry a whole team like that.
He's 31 now.
Yeah, which is old for sports old.
Well, you could tell last season he was getting tired and worn out towards the end of it.
But
so
he was 25-26 when he led the Cavs team against Dallas. So I think I agree with you. I think he's going to get another title, at least one. I don't think it's going to be with Cleveland.
I mean, I hope it's with Cleveland just for his sake.
Yeah, I think it would be cool if it was with Cleveland to bring a title back, and it would be just a good story for him, and he could win a title, play a couple more years, kind of go off into the sunset. But
either way, he's going off into the sunset
well,
as one of the best basketball players ever.
It's how he gets
maybe
there.
even second best.
But I'll take him in Chicago. We could use him. We could use Kevin Durant, too.
You guys could use anything you can take right now.
Yeah, anything that doesn't have a blown-out knee, we could take. I'll take LeBron or Kevin Durant. Pair him with Jimmy Butler. All right, I'm going to get in talks with Kevin Durant. We're going to take a music break. I'm going to call Kevin Durant, try and get him to come to Chicago and play for the Bulls. We'll be right back.
Carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more. 'cause there's a hunger, a longing to escape from the life I live when I'm away. So let's go there, let's make our escape. Come on, let's go there. Let's just can we stay? Can you take me higher to a place where the line and sea? Can you take me higher to a place with golden streams? Oh, I would like a world to change. It helps me to appreciate those nights and those dreams. But my friend, I'd sacrifice all those nights if I could make the earth and my dreams the same. The only difference is to let love replace all I hate. So let's go there. Let's make our escape. Come on, let's go there. Let's just can we stay? Can you take me higher to a place where the line and sea? Can you take me higher to a place with golden streams? So let's go there. Yeah, let's go there. Come on, let's go there. Let's just can we stay? Set up high, I'm strong enough to take these dreams and make them mine. Can you take me higher to a place where the line and sea? Can you take me higher to a place with golden streams? Can you take me higher to a place where blind men see? Can you take me higher to a place with golden streams?
Alrighty, we are back on From J to Z. Gonna start talking a little bit about some college basketball now, coming out of a little professional basketball action. March Madness Selection Sunday coming up in now just 5 days. So we're gonna try and give you a little prediction, maybe where some number 1, number 2 seeds would be. I know we talked about this last week about maybe what our 4 number 1 seeds would be. who right now? Who do you think's the number 1 seed?
I have Kansas, Virginia. UNC's been playing pretty well, and probably gonna have to go with Villanova still. I think they still have the edge.
It seems like Michigan State kind of came out of nowhere. Like they jumped from number 7 to number 2. I think
they were ranked high earlier in the season. They went through a little bit of a drought, got back, went through another little drought, but now I think they've won like 7 of the last 8, and 3 of them are against ranked opponents, including UNC.
Right.
So they're getting hot right now, which is a good time to get hot. I think they're definitely a 2nd seed, a solid 2 seed. Yeah, even if they, depending on how well, like say Villanova does. If, say Villanova doesn't do too well in the conference tournament and Michigan State wins the Big Ten conference tournament, which would be a huge feat since that conference is very tough. I think Michigan State might be a push to another 1, and Villanova might fall to a 2.
Yeah, with how hot Michigan State is, I think they are making a real push for a number 1 seed right now. Especially if Kansas loses, they're going to be number 1 in the country. So then you're really going to have to explain why is the number 1 team in the country not a number 1 seed. But yeah, they're getting hot at the right time. I would say if it ended today, because part of me wants to put Oklahoma in there, but they've just had a couple losses recently that kind of hurt them. And part of me wants to put Xavier in there because Virginia has 6 losses. You know, they've got a tough schedule.
I think people are underestimating Xavier, though. I feel like that's the only reason they're not a number 1.
I agree with you. I really hope Xavier makes a push. If it ended today, I would go Kansas, Michigan State. Those are the 2 locks. Villanova, Virginia, Xavier. You could coin toss. I think for either of the other number 1 seeds.
Right. I mean, and the way this season's gone, and seed honestly does not even matter this year.
It doesn't.
So many upsets.
No, whether you're 1 or 2 literally means nothing.
Right. I mean, it's just tonight doesn't really matter. One of the lock-ins was the winner of Iona over Monmouth.
Well, what are you talking about? That doesn't matter. That's the big. That's a huge game.
Well, Monmouth had swept the conference all season, and then Iona comes out of nowhere and just beats them tonight to get the first lock in for the tournament. Mm. So, like, I don't know what seed they'll be. Probably like a 15 or 14.
Yeah, something not
absurd.
So just
but
irrelevant.
This year, this is the year that teams like this could maybe make a push. Like,
not championship push, but yeah,
right.
Maybe like a Sweet 16.
Right.
Or there's normally
but that's still a game changer for March Madness.
So who do you think is in contention for like a number 2 seed? I'll go ahead and just say Kansas, Michigan State, Virginia, Xavier as my 1s.
Okay.
If it ended right now, I think Villanova's a 2 right now.
I mean, or Oklahoma's. I feel like Oklahoma's a 2.
Yeah, North Carolina's definitely a 2.
Oregon has done really well lately.
Yeah, I think that 4th 2 or 3. I think that 4th 2 is kind of a bubble right now.
Right.
Oregon, West Virginia, maybe Indiana, maybe even Miami could make a push for that number 2 seed. I think more so than the 4th number 1 seed. The 4th number 2 seed, I think, is going to be a bigger question mark. But yeah, especially now more than ever, it really does not matter who gets what seed, because every number 1 team's been beaten at least once.
Looking at the latest, like bracketology, Joe Lenardi bracketology, he has Cincinnati as a 10 still. That might change come tomorrow when he releases his new one. But if it stays the way he has it, if Cincinnati wins the first round and Xavier wins the first round, they will play each other in that second round. Best of 32. So we might have another crosstown shootout on our hands,
Yeah,
which would be great.
that would be really
Yeah.
fun.
And that's probably one of the upset that Xavier has to look out for. I don't think Xavier needs to worry about. I mean, right now he has Cincinnati, Notre Dame, Xavier, IPFW, who I think lost. If Xavier played Notre Dame, Xavier would win, I think, hands down. But if Xavier plays Cincinnati, I think that's a closer game just because of the rivalry and the intensity of that game.
Yeah, I think that's a legitimate game UC could win.
Right. Not necessarily talent-wise, but
We
just,
know them.
Right.
Yeah, I definitely think that's a, and what a story that would be, and not that really affects the outcome of the game at all. But if in a crazy season like this, maybe BPI, the power index, is like a good way to try and figure out how good these teams are. It gives a total rating. Right now, UNC has the best BPI. They're rated at 89.6. UNC, Virginia, Nova, Michigan State, Kansas are the top 5, which is similar to the top 5 rankings, except UNC is 7, and in the BPI they're number 1. So maybe if you're actually seeding the bracket, you argue that UNC is the number 1 seed,
Right.
because as a whole, with strengths of schedule and all those factors taken into account, they are one of the best teams. I mean, who knows?
Well, I think you also have to look at the conference tournament towards the end. I think that's a big reason why they have that. Well, the biggest reason is because it's a play-in. If you win the conference, you get into the March Madness 100%. But I feel like that little tournament there at the end, really, that's when you really have to prove yourself. Like, if Michigan State wins the Big Ten, which is a very good basketball conference this season, that proves that they're just that good. If Michigan State wins the Big Ten tournament, I think they have to be number 1 seed.
Yeah,
Have to be.
Yeah, especially the same thing with the Big 12,
Right.
and maybe even the
Kansas,
Big East a little bit.
ACC too.
Yeah, there's a lot of power conferences that almost the winner of those conferences, you punch your ticket for a number 1 seed,
Right.
just because it's so competitive. Regardless of rank, you get it.
Just and like, hopefully, Cincinnati losing to Houston doesn't knock them off too much, because they're at a 10 right now. But if the loss affects them, they'll return into one of the last 4 in.
Yeah,
which could potentially be not so good.
Cincinnati right now is 25th ranked BPI, which is kind of surprisingly high.
That's fairly good.
Yeah, out of 64 teams that will be in it, we're ranked the 25 as as a whole the 25th best team, which seems very odd, considering we're just on the outside of actually being ranked. But we're catching a little bit of fire. We're 9-3 in our last 12, and just beat SMU.
Yeah.
So we are getting kind of hot at the right time, at least to make a little bit of a push.
If only we can keep consistency up.
Yeah, that has been by far our biggest problem, even when Kilpatrick was here.
Without a doubt.
Is just you just don't know. I mean, Kilpatrick was here and we lost to Harvard in the first round.
Right.
Like it
just happens.
Yeah, I mean it's just unpredictable. It's crazy unpredictable. But it's almost worthless to even say it just for fun at this point. Who do you think's going to win?
No clue.
Exactly. Like
I probably had a better shot closing my eyes and pointing to a team on the bracket than predicting the winner this year.
I'm going to take North Carolina. Just because. I with almost no reason to back that up.
If we're taking just because, I'm going to pick Oklahoma just because I'm a huge fan of Buddy Hield. I hope he wins Player of the Year. He's just a great competitor, great scorer. Or Xavier. I'll take Xavier just because of hometown. Who knows? No one knows.
Yeah, this is, man. Some of these conferences are just so stacked.
Right.
But there's so many.
I think the Big Ten had like 7 teams for at-large bids.
Almost every one of these
Madness.
teams is almost every top 25 teams out of 4 conferences. It's just so competitive.
It's insane.
All right. Well, hey, next show we're going to be breaking down. We're going to be talking a lot about this.
Yep.
So no point in getting
too in depth right now.
Too crazy about it right now. All right, we're going to take our last music break. When we come back, we've got we'll call it a strong way to end the show. We'll be right back. Alrighty, we're back on from J to Z. This week's Omaha story comes out of Columbus. The 1,000-pound deadlift that just happened over the weekend. The first American ever to hit it. I'm trying to find his name right now, and it's not happening. Lifted. He was just the fourth person of all time, first American to ever lift a 1,000-pound deadlift. And if you want to watch that video, it is up on YouTube. Just Arnold classic deadlift. It'll come up. It should be one of the first videos. 1 rep's 1,000 pounds. Bar is almost. I mean, it looks like it's going to snap in his hands. I mean, Justin, your deadlift is about 3 times what mine is. Just how insane is that?
I can't even imagine that. Watching him, it hurts me. 1,000 pounds. That's just absurd. That's an absurd amount of weight.
No matter what the exercise. I mean, that is crazy.
It just goes to show, out of everyone who's competed, he's only the 4th person to ever do that.
Yeah,
4 people have ever deadlifted 1,000 pounds. That just goes to show you right there how heavy it actually is.
Yeah. All right. Well, he had a better weekend than we did. All righty. That's all we've got for you tonight. Thanks for listening while we took you from J to Z and everything sports. Check us out on Twitter at BearcastJ, the number 2Z. Visit our YouTube channel from J to Z to listen to previous shows and tonight's show.
Yeah, join us next Monday, midnight to 2, for another episode of From J to Z. Until then, Cincinnati, have a good night.
Good night.